Hello and welcome to another cue breakdown. This is an ambient guitar track and it's a bit different to the other cue breakdowns I've been doing because this is an older track that did get accepted, and it's also unusual in the fact that I've actually used live guitar that I played in. I'm by no means the world's greatest guitarist, but it does show how you can use these realistic elements to enhance your track. So this was placed eventually, but it's a good couple of years old now, and there are things I would do if I was doing it again today. So let's have a listen to the track. I'm going to try and do this all in one go. Okay, there we go. So just off the top of my head, listening to that again, I think the bass is a bit too loud. The guitars don't sound quite right and are probably sitting back a little bit too much to be the main instrument. The drummer probably needs to vary the groove a little bit more. The ending needs more of a button sting end rather than that sort of drop out and fade, and it would need some edit points if I was going to submit this again. Anyway, let's go through it and see what it was, because maybe this is where you are at the moment, and that's absolutely fine. The point is to keep making tracks that are the full length and you learn to get better. Also, incorporating live instruments is a really key thing. So it all started off with a piano groove, as you probably know by now I tend to start with. And this has got a tape delay, some fat effects. If we take all of that off, so you can see there's quite a lot of effects going into that. But you just go through them one at a time and think, oh yeah, I want a little bit of delay here, or do I need to put a bit of compression on to level out the sound a bit more. And that pretty much continues all the way through. We've got this section in the middle that's more arpeggiated. So that's the breakdown section. In the second half of the breakdown section, the drummer comes in as well. Okay, now we've got the Glock that comes in for the start of the middle section. And I can show you how old this is, because it is still set to the Discover mode of BBC SO. So I didn't even have a full version of BBC SO when I was doing this track, so that would have been quite a couple of years ago. But it's just accenting some of those key beats. Then we've got these soft synth bells, which is a patch from Alchemy, doing similar to the Glock. In fact, it might be doing exactly the same as the Glock, and it's just been copied down. So that's around C4, and yeah, so the Glock is the higher version of soft synth bells. Then we've got the two basses. So the Liverpool bass from Logic, that's the one I think is a bit loud. In context it works quite well, but I'd probably roll off some of the EQ there. There's a variation passage. So we've got the start of the A section, then and what you'll also notice is I didn't quantize these. So don't just hit the quantize button for the sake of lining everything up on the grid, because this gives a more natural feel to playing it. I've got the synth bass in here because it adds the upper harmonics. You can't really hear it too much there, but the point of putting in the higher harmonics is if you're on a sound system phone that doesn't have those bass generating capabilities, you still get the bass melody coming through. I'm going to skip those audio tracks of the guitar for a second. We've got this shaker track that comes in again from the B section breakdown and just carries on all the way through to the end. That's a classic production music technique. Stick a shaker in to add some energy, and then I've actually just used Logic Drummer here. I think it was the Pile Driver original setting. So that's all the MIDI stuff, well, and the shaker as well, which I think I did record in individually as well. Now we've got these final guitar tracks, but let me just show you what we started off with, these sort of snippets. And you'll hear there's finger noises in there that I didn't necessarily want. What have we got here? And what I have then done, let's listen to what this one is. So this has been bounced in place as a full take, which was eventually turned into one of these. So let's skip that. We don't need to listen to that one as well. We've got, what I did was, I've got guitars 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Even though I'm playing the same notes, by playing them and recording them more than once, you get a separation that you wouldn't get if you took a guitar and just copied it down to a second audio track. So what's this one? That's been quite processed with gain, so you can hear that, you can hear the hiss coming through on that. But what I eventually ended up doing was layering them into these split up little sections here, and then bouncing them into one track here. So if we expand that, you'll see there's a gap here. So around that mark, and there's a gap here. So these were all pieced together to make the entire track and then bounced to create this final one. And that's how you do it. Create little snippets, pop them together, bounce them together as one, and you end up with a full track. So just looking at these, we've got guitars 1 right and left and guitar 2 right and left. So if we look at the panning, that's slightly to the right. This is to the left slightly. Put them together. And you'll notice I've put some gain, pedal board, amp and compression on all 4 of those. They are also going to bus 20, which if we have a look, is down here, and that's got a delay designer on it using filtered down 1 bar. So all these tracks go through that one bus to give it that delay effect. So you've got that plucking sound there. And an answering phrase as well later on. And then second guitar, this was to build energy, build a layer. So again, we've got the right side, the left side, both together. Again, going through the delay. As you notice, guitar 2 comes in here, but then continues into the B section and then drops out and lets the first guitar. So it's all about swapping these layers around and getting different bits to work together to create ultimately what you think is the best mix. I hope you found that useful looking back on a track, because this isn't a track that today I would necessarily put out, but it's just a matter of practice. The more you do it, the more you repeat, the more you learn, and eventually you just get better. I hope you found that interesting. Like and subscribe is always appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. I'll play it again as an outro, by the way.